Welcome back to another episode of the Escape Pod. On today's episode, we're going to be discussing, it's actually a pretty good topic. Does God exist? Ooh, might be a little controversial, but I think we're just going to dive right into it. Sean, what's your thoughts?
Does God exist? I'm going to take faith out of my response and just go on science. And that being said, I do believe that there is a God, a type of creator, grand architect, however you might want to label that being, or so forth. Although there are many examples of evidence supporting the existence of a God in today's science, I will only mention three. Let's keep it short. Number one, the simulation theory, which was, there's an actual book out, Jonathan Lipp, I forget how to, I'll probably butcher his name, apologies. His book is out on simulation theory. And also, he actually wasn't the first one to theorize that. It was Philip K. Dick back in 1977. And what they are theorizing, which more and more, I think even quantum physics and science has been actually proving that, yes, we do live in a computer simulation, a type of program, like The Matrix, like the movie, right? So, yeah, I can see, what they're talking about, because perfect example is Neil deGrasse Tyson. I was going to say Elon Musk, but let's just stay on course with scientists. The famous astrophysicist, Neil deGrasse Tyson. He even had to take a step back, because at first it was just chaos. There is no God. And he's like, oh man, we might be living in a simulation.
So who made the simulation?
Some snot-nosed kid in the parents' basement of an alien civilization, who's bored and they're more advanced than we are, and they have way more computing power than we are.
Right, so it's like a little handheld Nintendo you can
Exactly, and so they program in enough detail to completely simulate every molecule in this universe, and we are here for their entertainment. Why else can you explain where things are going along just fine in the world, then all of a sudden, there's a complete disruption?
The snot-nosed kid.
Culturally, politically, economically, a complete disruption. I think they throw it in for entertainment.
And if we are living in a simulation, maybe it's just some alien or higher dimensional kid playing a video game. We could be like in a world-building simulation game like Civilization Revolution, The Sims, the new Game of Thrones games where you build your world, you're a god, and when you just want to be a dick, you want to send out lightning. If that's the case, that sucks. I hope it's not a kid, because he's having a blast. But no, that's what they're theorizing. That's one example. Number two, mathematics. The divine mathematics, technically. I know a lot of people probably heard about it. For example, there's the Fibonacci spiral and the golden means. Also, there's sacred geometry, which, a lot of ancient civilizations, I think every culture has a form of sacred geometry. And Fibonacci spiral and the golden means, both of them actually show that there is a mathematical equation to all of life, that it creates life. It's almost like the God equation. How did clouds come about? Space, water, elements, just us moving. And actually, that mathematical golden means and sacred geometry actually explains that. If you folks have a chance, check out Cristobal Vila's Nature by Numbers online. I think YouTube has it as well, where he actually shows the Fibonacci spiral and the actual mathematical equation working in real time in 3D. It's pretty freaking cool, where it goes like from a seashell to like a flower, from a flower to like a dragonfly. It's pretty cool. I think number three would be dimensions. I think Carl Sagan's Flat World really paints a good picture of dimensions, where he talks about a 2D flat plane, and we're a three-dimensional creature. So if you just like take your actually check out the video, but if you take your tabletop and you kind of just cut out like pieces, like a circle, and then you make a square. That's the circle's house. You can make his friends, out of a triangle and a square. But it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, in our world, there's still like there's still height, there's still volume, because we're three-dimensional. No matter how thin it is, it's always going to be there. But try to picture it as if there was no height, right? It just was where they only could see and move north, south, east, west, right? And then you look at that, you're like a god. Technically, you can see into their house, because they don't know about roofs, because they can't see up. So you could talk to them and they're like, what the hell is that? If you want to sneeze, it's a hurricane for them. You can just be a dick and pick them up and drop them. It's crazy what just one dimension can do. So if we have a fourth dimensional creature higher than us, it makes sense why they can play almost a game with us. If you go fifth, sixth, seventh, oh my gosh, which is stating that maybe God or angels or any of these so forth creatures or gods of ancient worlds are actually higher dimensional creatures. Because when you look at a lot of even in the Bible, when they talk about angels being six-winged, many eyes, everybody's like, that's fucking, what a disgusting thing. Or they have like a lion head, or with an eagle head, and they got human arms with snakes for legs. It's crazy. Even the Greeks talk about it. India has that, and I understand it. To us, it's like weird, but maybe because we're only three-dimensional and those might be a higher dimensional, we can't compute anything outside of the boundaries of our laws of physics and science. So from a two-dimensional creature, when it looks at us, it can't even function what we're doing. That's why I think Carl did a cool experiment where he took an apple, he put it with ink, and then he put it through their world. Even if we put our finger through their world with the ink, they won't see our finger for what it is. They'll just see the imprint of flat 2D of what it is. So it's just like a mesh of shit. So I think with those types of support in science, stating, once again, going down the line, simulation theory, we live in a computer program. So there must be something that created the computer or is working the program or the video game. Two, the mathematical equation that shows that everything is created by math. Who wrote the equation? And three, I think the last one is dimensions. If we can now see that there are higher dimensional creatures that we can't even see right now. I mean, hell, we got radio waves and signals that we can't see. So I mean, it makes sense things could exist outside of our spectrum of sight and even our senses. Then yeah, I believe there's possibly a God.
It's interesting from the scientific perspective, but I'm gonna look at it from a different perspective. I mean, come to think of it, like this type of question is the precursor to what has caused pretty much war between, these different religions. Because not only, does God exist, but it comes down to whose God is better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some shape or form. I mean, and trust me, I'm not a religion a major. I don't study this, even though I'm Catholic. I've just been aware enough of what's been in the news, right? And what's been the information I've been privy to, seeing it firsthand. This type of question has been the precursor to many conflicts, many wars, many battles. But if you actually look at that in that context, that will tell you or give you reason to believe that a God does exist, because it's causing these conflicts. Me personally, since I'm not a zealot, I'm not completely, crack the whip, put on the chain on my leg and, yank it for blood type of religious person. Do I believe God exists? I believe something existed. I believe that we were birthed or created from something, not necessarily someone. Maybe we are in their image. Who knows? But if you look historically at information and take it from a historical standpoint, because faith is very broad. Doesn't matter the religion, it's very, very broad, and it's not that easy to define. And most of that information that is processed down to you, you have to take it firsthand. You have to say, look, I'm not going to dive any further into it because this is what I believe. But if I took it from a historical standpoint, every race or civilization, you can map this out and find facts on this. They believe in something that came from the sky, that was greater than them, that gave them technology, that gave them advancements, that gave them their civilization, and all the descriptions pretty much line up. They all sound the same. How they got their pyramids, their temples, from the Mayans to the Egyptians, is the Israelites. I mean, does God exist? It just depends on how you want to label it, right? For me, I'm not one of those cuckoo guys that believes in tree hugging and stuff. No offense to tree huggers out there. But I believe that there is something in the universe. I believe that this planet is one of many, probably test planets. And we know for a fact, like, how big is the actual universe? Sean, it's like, yeah, we're a little speck, you know, a little speck in the whole design. Not peck, but speck. Okay, sounds the same, but we're a little speck in the whole design of the universe. And for us to really believe that there is no higher being, that we built ourselves, that we are one of a kind, then we are ignorant. We are completely ignorant, because if we are advancing in technologies and we are flying into space and we are landing on the moon, right? You know, what's to say that something else hasn't been out there that's more advanced? So, you know, before we go down a rabbit hole on that one, I'm going to hone it back in. I believe that not in so much a God exists, but I believe that there is something out there that did lend its hand in creating us, and what the actual truth is won't be revealed to us until they're ready. And if that gets a little too out of bounds for you guys, by all means, leave a comment. Tell us, do you guys think God exists? And if you're gonna come with an actual comment, please back it up. See, we're academics. We have learned to, when you make a statement, you know, and you're trying to stand firm in your stance, back it up. Find something, a little piece that can say, hey, you know what? I want to research that. I want to have a little bit more clue about that. But if you guys want to leave a comment on this, do you guys believe God exists? Please leave it down below, and we'll be more than happy to respond, research, look up, whatever, to get back in contact. Sean, do you have anything else?
No, man.
You know, it really comes down to what you believe in general. We're just saying that there is something out there that can be said. Shameless plug. That can be that can be explained through science, through mathematics, but also through faith. So don't read too far into what we're saying. We're just, like I said, just trying to create conversation. But if you guys liked what we've talked about today, by all means, please subscribe, leave a comment, hit like, tell your friends, and share this video. But until next week, thank you for joining us on the Escape Pod.